Our document right now looks very basic. So what we can do now is we can add some styles to our document. In order to do that, I'm going to go to Bootstrap, and from here we're going to implement Bootstrap into our site. Let's click on Get Started, and from here I'm going to go to a starter template. I'm going to copy all of this. Get back to our IDE here, and inside the templates I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call this as base. Replace all this code with my code. Now you can see that we have implemented the Bootstrap inside the base.html. The next step for us would be to get this file, styles and JavaScripts and everything in order to work with our home and also with our employee details. So here I'm just going to replace this with a template string called block content, and I'm going to end this with end block. And inside our home.html here in the beginning, I'm going to add a simple template. I'm going to call this as extends base.html. Save this. I get to the browser. Let's hit refresh. We've not added that in our employee details. Let's get to home page. Now you can see that nothing's been loaded. Let's right click and view page source. We can see that our HTML and CSS is loaded, but all the details which we wanted to display is not loaded yet. In order to get our data over here, we need to add one more template structure. So I'm going to get to my ID here, and here all I have to do now is add block content, and here that's going to be end block. I'm going to save this. Let's get to the browser again. Let's hit refresh. Now you can see that our data is displaying. Let's make it a little more beautiful with the help of Bootstrap. Let's get back here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a container here, call this header. It's going to have a class called container. Inside that we'll have a div, the row, so div.call lg12, and here we're going to have our heading. So I'm going to call this as a h1 tag. I'm going to call this as employee database. Save that. I'm going to add a little decoration for this with an HR tag. So if I get to the browser, let's hit refresh, you can see that our employee database is displaying. I have to get this in center. Let's get back to our code. Here what I can do is I can give a class text center. Save that. If I get to the browser, let's hit refresh, I can see that our employee database is in center. I need to add some styles for this one too. So what we can do now is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to create a section tag, call this as container. We're going to say div.row. Inside that we're going to have a div.call lg12, and inside this I'm going to paste this. Let's just format this a little bit, and instead of giving board, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to give a class, call this as table, and table border. Save that. I can get to the browser here. Let's hit refresh, and I can see our employee database is looking pretty good. Now instead of this link, I need a button. So let's get back to our ID here, and what we can do is we can give a class. I'm going to call this as btn primary. I need the button to be small, so I'm going to say btn sm. Save that. Let's get to our browser. Let's hit refresh. I can see we have the details button. So when I click on this, that's taking me to the details page. Let's get back to our details page here, and we're going to do the same thing. here I'm going to add in the template tag, say extends base.html, and after this I'll say block content. I need to end it here, so I'm going to give end block. Now I'm going to take all of this and put it inside a really nice container. So I'm just going to cut this. So div dot container, div dot row, div dot call g12, and then I'm going to paste it inside this. Let me just format this a little bit. Save this. Let's get back to the browser. Let's hit refresh. That's looking pretty good now.